You're listening to the Academy Podcast, presenting an innovative curriculum for personal growth. Sit in on exclusive conversations with influential people as they share the secrets that made them the front runners in their industries. Now, here are your hosts, Austin and Kagia.
Look, it's been so long since we've been on here. We don't even remember how to start. Right. We've been on here for about 1 minute. I just want to tell the truth to the people, all right? Because they want us to be clear. We don't want to be opaque with you today. Look, we want to be transparent. We want you to know that we don't even know how to start this podcast right now. We excited to be back.
I got you. I'm gonna start it.
We
this is it. We already in. Hey, listen, no, I'm not erasing this. Welcome to the Academy Podcast. Austin and G, everybody. G already started us off. Listen, I wanted to say it for those who didn't. We're back. I know y'all missed us. We're here. G has been booked and busy, so we haven't been able to do the pod, but we back now. We back. We had to host some conferences, and G had to host a bunch of other stuff while I sat in the background. But we here. It was because of his schedule conflict, but the boys are back.
Let me say this, because we're supposed to work as a team and always agree. So I'm going to disagree right off the bat. I'm going to tell y'all the truth. We wasn't busy. We was just tired. All right.
That's okay.
We wasn't busy. We just didn't schedule any podcast. But we are here, and we will see you just as often as we used to see you. We miss doing this, and so glad to be back in the house. Awesome. What you got?
I gotta say this, man. Shout out to, while we were on a little break or whatever, just being tired. Shout out to people the new subscribers that subscribe to our YouTube page. We got a big jump on our YouTube. We got a big jump on our iTunes page too. Shout out to you guys, man. Of course, all of our listeners and viewers from YouTube, Facebook, iTunes, Spotify, man. Shout out to you guys. We're glad to be in the space, man. But we're back. G, what you got, man? I know you got something for us, man. You got something to tell us, bro.
Hey, listen, we've been talking to a physician today. So you know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about the many times, right, that I go in, like, because something's wrong. And, I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether to listen. And so one of my questions coming up is going to be like, dude, how do I trust folks, man? Because like I tell my wife going to get her car fixed, dude, when she go in for regular something for her car, they always giving her all this stuff like catalytic converters and stuff that she need. It's always turns into $1,000 project. I'm like, babe, they making that stuff up. I seen it on a special. And whenever I go to, like, I remember I had an issue with the dentist. He said he wanted to send me to two different kinds of specialists, right? He wanted to send me to one specialist that did the root canals and one specialist that did the thing with gingivitis. I forgot what you call them. So I said, Doc, whatever one you send me to, they're going to say they're the ones that I need. Like, you can't send me to them and ask them, do I need them? They want to make that money. And sure enough, they sent me to the gingivitis dude. The gingivitis dentist was like, yeah, that's you got to get this thing done, and you got to come to me like twice a year for the rest of your life because this is incurable. I'm like, are you serious?
Wow.
Now, I'm gonna tell you, that was 5 years ago. I haven't had gingivitis for about 3 years because I've been using this water pick. It's gone. Right. So we know that dude was lying, but he wanted to catch my money, right, for the rest of my life. Right. It's like, how do you trust somebody that makes money? Like, how do you go to a surgeon and ask the surgeon, hey, you think I need this leg cut off, or you think I can keep it? Like, what's the surgeon going to say? And so the question, that I want to ask, so I want to be able to trust the person. Yeah, a car is a car. All right. I can wing it. The people, I take my car in, they be like, you need this, that, and the other. I say, give me that, but I don't need this and the other, right?
Right.
But my body, if the doc say I need this, that, and the other, it's kind of dangerous for me to second guess the doc. So I want to.
We're more prone because we know they know more than us, especially when it comes to our health. And that's why we go there for sure. I think that's a big part of it. And we've had plenty of nurses, we've had plenty of doctors come on. Talk about a lot of health through the pandemic, talk about virus, all this other stuff, man. It's good that we've got what you called, I think, first responders from the Monique episode, the frontline workers. We've had some great doctors come and share what they do, some stuff, man. So today, man, I'm excited, man. We got somebody, don't worry, we can trust him because I trust him. This is we had Myron Edmonds on a couple months ago talking about the winning circle. He's going to be doing 5 ways that men can win. I think right as the summer was kicking off. or ending rather. And he talked a lot about the winning circle. I'm a part of that winning circle. I'm a coach in the winning circle. And I got a chance to meet this guy who I consider, even though we just met each other this year, this is one of my closest brothers. I know it's crazy saying that, man, but one of my close brothers, man. Just appreciate him, man. So I'm excited to bring a basketball fanatic, a Star Wars fan, a gamer to the space. But more importantly, man, I'm excited to have my brother, Dr. Daniel Bedney, in the building, primary care sports physician who is here. Daniel,
what's up, fellas? What's up?
How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, man. It's good to be here. Really appreciate you guys. Love what you guys are doing. And man, it's just an honor to be here.
Yeah, I got a question, man, because your homeboy right here just like gave the world all your hobbies, right? In the introduction, but he didn't say that you were a DJ. I mean, I'm listening to you, man. You sound like you about to tell us the next slow jam that's coming on. So
I could do a little. Nah, man, it just got the nice voice, for the pod. We can even take it a little lower. This is WBED on the Academy podcast. We got tuned for days. Only for the married folk. Only for the married folk.
Only for the married folk. That's right. Yo, man. Daniel, man, thanks for being a part, man, of the pod. Listen, man, we're gonna jump right into it. We talked to a lot of nurses, talked to a lot of doctors, but you've got a unique position. When we met and we talked, man, you are a sports physician. You've worked with several organizations, man, but we met when you were talking about you were the doctor of the Orlando Magic, one of the doctors on staff. Talk to us about that. What that's like. What's that world of sports medicine like?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, it's a dream job. I get paid to watch sports. So that's awesome. And it's a lot of fun. I will correct you a little bit. So I was the backup physician for the Orlando Magic for the NBA bubble, but I am the lead physician for the Lakeland Magic, which is the G League affiliate team. I grew up playing sports. Grew up playing baseball in Michigan. Baseball was our summers. Like we didn't have family vacation. We had baseball.
Wow.
And I think, in all honesty, probably helped my parents out because I didn't realize we didn't have that much money till probably later in life. But we just kind of stayed. We just kind of stayed at home and played baseball. So grew up playing sports and loving it, and then started playing basketball a little bit later. And then, I had the opportunity to go to this summer program at the med school I ended up going to, and fell in love with the human body and anatomy. And that's what I get to do in sports medicine. It's musculoskeletal medicine. So it's a lot of fun.
Tell me this, because when you bring up sports medicine, I often think of non-doctors. I don't think they're doctors, physical therapists. What's the difference between like somebody like you who went to med school and is a MD versus somebody who does physical therapy? Just what's the basic difference between the two?
Yeah, the basic difference is that the physical therapist, for the most part, needs me to tell them, hey, this patient needs this. So you can think of me kind of as the quarterback, and I'm throwing the ball to the other people. So I'm kind of the head of the medical team, and I kind of direct everybody else. So physical therapists we work with athletic trainers. The athletic trainers are usually the people you see out on the field at first. And then we would come out if they need us. And the physical therapist helps with the rehab and stuff too. And then sports medicine has changed a lot. There's sports scientists and stuff too that help out, especially at the professional level and kind of these big universities and stuff too. So we're kind of just the quarterback.
Daniel, I want to ask you, because your position is major, man, in being in that space. For you, what are some of the exciting things about your job that's like, man, like this day was crazy, getting a chance to see certain people. What's it? Give us something that just was like just was dope for you.
I mean, there's a lot of things, but I think I love the game of basketball. So that's I get to watch the highest level of basketball. I mean, these guys in the G League, like people will talk. How people talk trash. This dude's garbage. Nah, these dudes would give you 40. Like,
in fact,
like these dudes are nice. And a lot of the people in the G League, if they had 1 or 2 inches, they would be in the league. But these are highly talented individuals. And I get not front row. I'm usually in the second row, but I get access to them. The most exciting thing, though, probably, to be honest, is the reason why I did sports medicine was because I always felt this need to impact people that look like me, that look like us. So African American males. And what do a lot of African American males do? They play sports. So I always wanted to impact them on their level. And one of the high schools that I cover 2 high schools, but one is predominantly Black, and getting in the training room with those guys and them being like, "Oh, you're the doctor? Oh man, how much do you make?" And it just opens their eyes to the other side of sports, because I'll never shoot down anybody that says, "Oh, I want to go to the NFL," but I want to open their eyes to say, "Hey, why don't you could be a team physician, or you could be the GM, or you could be the head athletic trainer, or you could be you could own a team." Right. So there's all these opportunities in sports that we don't always think about, but they always want to be the player. And there's a lot of other opportunities in sports that we can see. So I just wanted to give them, a different viewpoint.
And what do you mean when you say like that you have the 2 high schools? Like, what is your direct job? Because I mean, the high school I went to, we didn't have a doctor there full time. So what does that mean?
Yep. Absolutely. So in sports medicine, you have coverage. So I cover 2 high schools. I'm the primary care physician for them, and then the Lakeland Magic. So how that works in a practical base is we have to be on the sideline for football in the state of Florida. In most states, you have to be on the sideline during home games. And then if any athlete gets injured, we usually see them in our office and stuff. So I'm just kind of the go-to physician along with one of our pediatric orthopedic surgeons. So we tag team it. And we're just the doctors that take care of them. So I'm not on campus or anything like that. It's just I'm the first one that the trainer calls if somebody's injured.
Okay, so yeah, we needed you, man. My son, man, went in for a tackle, Doc. He went in for a tackle. I was proud of him because it was a big boy, man. My son was a cornerback, man. He got in front of that train, man, and when he went down, like his hands like stayed like up like this. And man, I ran down there. It took him a minute to get when he got up. They were asking him questions, and he knew the answers. But that's
got to be scary though.
It was scary. I'm smiling now. It was scary. They asked him, but it was funny too because they asked him, "What team are you playing?" Mm-hmm. And he was like, "I don't know." But I was telling him that's a bad question because. My son's like me. He might not know the team. He just know what. Y'all need to ask a different question. But yeah, there wasn't a doctor there on the team. So, but in Florida, you say it's mandatory to have a doctor on the sidelines during football games.
Absolutely. I mean, football is one of the most dangerous sports that we have. It's one of those contact sports. So football, hockey, these are contact sports. Rugby. Lacrosse. These are where you're going to see those head injuries. Sounds like what your boy had was a concussion, and you can get that posturing like you were describing and stuff. So you need to be on the field. Spinal injuries can happen and stuff. So you need somebody there.
And I know we're talking about something that's real serious, but I just want the world to know that he did make that tackle.
That's good. So my first question when I'm stitching up a hockey player that fought is, or that I get a concussion or something, I say, did you win? And I've never met a hockey player that says they didn't win. No, they always won.
Yo, listen,
even if they're knocked out on the ice.
I can't watch regular season hockey, but for some reason, when the NHL championship is on, I am glued to the TV. Because the intensity, but the fighting, I mean, I'm talking about they let them fight too, bro. They just let them go. They just let them go swinging. They just swing, man. So in your profession, you talked about impacting, people that look like us, but how many people in your position look like you? And talk to us about just being a young Black man, being a young Black sports doctor who's a lead for a G League team who assists with the Orlando Magic. Talk to us about your craft. How many folk look like you?
Yeah, so I mean, I think in general, if you look across medicine, there's not a lot of people that look like me. Then if you go to family medicine, there's not a lot of Black males. I forget the statistics. I think overall, it's 18% of the nation is African American and like 8% of doctors are Black. So I'll just throw in right now. I heard G talking about trust and stuff. Finding a doctor that looks like you has been shown to increase that trust and stuff too. So if that's available, that's something that you should look for, because that can definitely increase that trust that you talked about. I know we'll talk about it a little bit later, but just wanted to put that in there. As far as sports go, though, it's probably like every other aspect of medicine. I walk around the sports medicine conferences, and there's a fair amount of us, but there's definitely fewer than we'd like. But the biggest organization, the AMSSM, I'm part of a diversity group and stuff, and they are intentional about getting diversity as far as speaking and engagement and stuff like that. So I think it's on the up and up, but definitely room for improvement. I think, one thing that I've noticed as I interact with the players is it's almost that instant connection.
Right.
When they see somebody like me and they're like, "Oh, right. You're the doctor?" I'm like, right. Yeah, I'm the doctor. And so there's that kind of, I can vibe with them on a different level than some of my counterparts. And that just comes from an understanding.
Sorry, and I don't have my reference, but I read an article maybe 6 months ago that talked about, the fact that when blacks have a black physician that's asking them questions and trying to get them to go along with the program, whether it's going to be to take a vaccine or whatever it is, the trust level is a completely different. And they found out that the bedside manner and the questions that the doctors ask and the dialogue is so much different. And so it's almost like family when it comes to the dialogue between a black physician and a black patient. And so when it comes to that, now this is what I need you to do. This is what you do from here. I got your symptoms. This is what I think is going on, and I need you to take this medicine.
Right.
And people are more likely to follow what you say if you've had that connection.
Absolutely.
So do they teach bedside manner in med school?
So at my med school, they do. So I went to Loma Linda University. One of the things that they really teach is whole person care. And actually one of my favorite rotations was called whole person care. And literally we would walk around the hospital and we would just ask people questions about their life and stuff. We wouldn't talk about their disease process or anything like that. We would just talk about the whole person. And I bring that into my sports. So, every year I get to do a pre-participation physical for the guys in the G League and some other place. And I helped out with some of the hockey team down here too, a semi-pro hockey team. And I always ask them the same question that I learned in med school, which is, but I modify it a little bit. I say, besides basketball or besides hockey, what would people say you're famous for? And that really just opens it up. And when you ask regular patients, you'll find out new things about them that you never knew. Maybe they have a passion maybe they have a podcast. Maybe they have a passion for cooking. Maybe they're a rapper. Maybe they're into finances. I met one athlete that was really into finances and wanted to help athletes with their finances up there. But
that's dope.
What I've noticed in the years that I do that, it brings down the wall automatically, because that's the first question I ask people.
Right.
And it allows me to connect.
So Doc, tell me this. I know that you, like I said, are a physician. We introduced you as a physician for the Orlando Magic and the G League team. But besides that, what are you famous for?
Man, that's a great question. Besides those things,
hey, I just want to say he couldn't wait to get that off. Look at him. He couldn't wait. He couldn't wait.
Because this is the exact response though that people give me.
That's why I'm not wrong.
Because this is literally the reaction I get. They're like, man, nobody's ever asked me that, because I'm 6'9" and I'm a black guy. So they just assume this is all I do. So that's it. I come from a family of singing though. So, I think people would talk about me singing. At some of the end of my lectures, I'll put on a little rap to summarize the lecture and stuff, so people know me for that.
Shoot,
so,
wow.
So kind of some music and stuff. So just try and bring some medicine, man. Doctors sometimes we're a little stiff, man. So I try and lighten things up a little bit.
Now for the viewers, man, that don't listeners, you are an Oakwood man, but you also are an Aeolian man. Is that correct? So you are well versed in the art of music as well, man. So that's a beautiful thing. Let's just go around the room. G, man, what are you famous for, man? What are you famous for besides podcaster, pastor, Steelers fan, fanatic? Which y'all
don't give away all my answers.
so many things you're famous for.
Well, when I was in college, you could go to he's down there in Florida. You could go to places like Daytona Beach, and folks would follow me around with cameras because before I had the form that I have now, I still was a little touched, and it was no telling what I was going to say or what I was going to do, but it was going to be loud and it was going to be big. And so whether it was with the fraternity or just with my boys or just on road trips or just wherever, like it was always big and loud. So I think that's the result of just being the middle son. My brother was crazy, and if I was going to exist, I had to take it up 3 notches. And so I got a lot of aliases.
Don't incriminate yourself. I know you want to
right.
Don't incriminate yourself. But I think Dr. Bedney, that opens it up, man, because I think people in the room, when you got a doctor that's not stiff, it makes it just 10 times better. And I think we learned this on the Winning Circle.
But answer the question, Austin. But answer the question. Don't what am I famous for? Move on.
Yeah, no, I was gonna move on. Listen. What am I famous for besides being your co-host? Let's see. I am famous. What am I famous for? Oh man, this is so funny. When I was coming up in Oakwood, I used to go around doing Martin Luther King speeches, and I would do the I have a dream speech, and so I would get booked to go around and do this speech. So the Eolians had to sing at Alabama University, Roll Tide, by the way, and they had a major concert, and I had to go and deliver that speech for Black History Month. I've done it for conventions. I've done it for Oakwood graduations. I've done it for, and it's so funny. Somebody the other day saw me online and put a comment in. I think he used to do speeches when he was little, and it's funny because up until I think I stopped doing it when I was like a junior in college, but I would go around and do excerpts of his different sermons and speeches. Wow. So that's definitely that's partially what I'm famous for.
Bro, that's how I got into ministry.
Really?
Yeah, I listened to a book about Martin Luther King, and at the time I was doing speeches for Toastmasters, and I wanted to state a couple of times but couldn't go no further. I listened to a couple of his speeches in the process of him making them, and I was like, if I can add this preaching element, right, then I can get to the top. Man, I messed around and went in Doggett's class, man, and
never look back.
Man, it's been
and never look back.
After preaching, you can't do a motivational speech.
No, that's true. You'll start to feel your help coming on very quickly. Shout
out to Pastor Doggett. He's my pastor, right here.
Oh, that's right. It's over because you're over at Patmos, right? That's right. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Shout out to Pastor Doggett. Shout out
he got me in the eldership. It was like, I think you need to be an elder. And then walk me through all that. So I'm an elder over there and stuff. So shout out to Pastor.
Shout out to Pastor Doggett, man. Him and his family for sure, man. Big part. Speaking of engagements and speaking, one thing I think that learning from you, Daniel, that I think is dope is that you're not just a doctor in the room, but you do a lot of lectures, you do a lot of teaching. The importance of being a public speaker and a doctor, I really didn't know the importance of that really until I started, connecting with you. How much of that is important to you in your job when it comes to public and speaking, going in there, doing different seminars? What is that like for you?
Yeah, so I think it depends what type of medicine you're in. I'm actually in academic medicine. So I know I've said I've done a lot of things, so it can be confusing for a lot of people. But, my 9 to 5 job is I'm faculty at a family medicine residency where I am the sports doctor there. So that's where my clinic runs. It runs through an academic kind of institution. So I'm working with residents who are still in training, are doctors, but they're still in training. So my 9 to 5 is to really teach them. And I do that through various clinics. So I have my own sports medicine clinic that they work with me in. 3 half days. I have a concussion clinic that they work with me as well. And then just regular family medicine clinic too. I work with them as well. So it's a pleasure and an honor to get to teach them and get to pour into them. The public speaking aspect really comes into lecturing. So, when we lecture the residents and stuff, we try and be creative, deliver it in a way that they can retain it. And it's not just medicine can be boring, man. Sometimes, I mean, honestly, it's like this is your biceps and it connects here and it moves this and this is the medicine. This is azithromycin. These are the side effects. And like, it's just boom, 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 boom. And it can be very boring. So if you can engage the residents, I think that's good. When you're in the room with a patient though, really I'm a salesman, right? So I'm trying to build that trust that you're talking about, right? And I'm trying to build rapport with the patient enough that they will agree with what I'm saying, or sometimes I'm trying to work with them to come up with a solution themselves. So, speaking and having different analogies and stuff can definitely help me. So, one common one that I use is for the hemoglobin A1C. Hemoglobin A1C is the 3-month average of your sugars over time. So if you can think about Krispy Kreme, not that you guys have gone there, but Krispy Kreme, if you go in there to that holy place, there's a conveyor belt and the donuts are just kind of cruising on through. And those are like your red blood cells. And then there's this glorious
talk about it. He's teaching now. Yeah.
Of glaze that falls on the donut. So you can think about the hemoglobin A1C as how much glaze gets on your red blood cells. That's basically what it is. So we want that less than 6.5%, so that you to not get the diagnosis of diabetes. But then if you get that multiple times, then you have diabetes. So it's little stuff like that. I think analogies and stuff that can just make it practical and everyday stuff. And then patients can be like, I got it.
Hey, Doc, tell me this, man. How much should I trust, what my body's telling me? Like how, as a sports med doctor, like, there's something that tells me when I run, stop running, right? Like, when should I ignore that? And when should I listen? Like, how do I know the difference between a pain that is a pain that I should run through versus a pain that I need to rest this for a week?
You see how this got personal?
Runner, you don't want to rest.
You see how this got personal, Austin?
He got real quick. He's trying to get a free consult without paying the copay.
Can I get the copay?
Yeah, he's trying to get the copay. Yeah, get this guy out of here, man. Get this guy out of here, man.
I represent the people.
No, it's a great question. Great question. What I tell my patients is if you're having sharp pain, that's usually a sign that you need to stop. If it feels like an ache, like, oh man, like I'm working out, we all know that ache that we feel, then you can usually push through that. But if it's consistently, like you start running and then it hurts all the way through your run, you probably need to go get that checked out. Disclaimer, everything that I say is not medical advice. Like, don't go see your doctor.
Hey, look at we put the disclaimer out there. G's gonna tell us like what the doctor said. We can stop. We ain't gotta keep doing this. We can just.
It's cool, man. Males only come to the doctor for a couple reasons. One is erectile dysfunction. 2 is I'm dying, or I think I'm dying, and then 3 is my wife told me to come. So. Those are really the only 3 reasons that men come to the doctor. So that I've seen.
Hey, listen, when I had this stomach ache, man, it wouldn't go away. It was killing me. My wife was like, "You want to go to the doctor?" I was like, "Huh?" I said, "You can go to the doctor for a stomach ache?"
Yeah.
And your wife's a nurse.
Right.
And she's like, go to the doctor.
Right. We went in and I needed to be there. Like I was having some real serious issues, but I was confused because I didn't know you could go to the doctor because your stomach was hurting, but yeah, I guess that's the male thing.
Yeah. I think that's the importance too of a primary care physician. So a primary care physician you can go to for really anything. So it's really important that people have a primary care physician.
That's a word.
that you can pop in. It's usually a family medicine or internal medicine doctor that you can go in. We're kind of like the gatekeepers. That's what they call us. But we know a little bit about everything, so we can usually direct you. If we can't take care of it, we can direct you to where you need to go.
Look, so I want to ask this question, man. I told my boys that I was going to have a sports doctor on for the pod, and a couple questions I got for you. Really, well, let's start with this one. NBA Finals a couple years ago, Kevin Durant. I think he tears up his ankle. Same thing happened with Clay, ACL injury. And as soon as we see that, we see that on the screen. It's devastating to look at. Guys at the floor. We've seen the injuries. I think happened with Gordon Hayward a couple years ago when the start of the season happened. He messed up his ankle real bad. We hear 6 to 8 months recovery, and I think Daniel, you always kind of hear there's always a speculation from sports broadcasters: will he be the same? Will she be the same after injury like this? With sports medicine, because now I'm looking at Kevin Durant, he ain't missed a beat. He been gone for a long time. The recovery. But these guys almost going to surgery right away. How much of it is work ethic from the player, and how much of it is just modern medicine? That after these guys have these ACL tears, think about Derrick Rose having these ACL tears, three. I mean, what is that like, man? I mean, is it? Well,
I want to add a third thing. You said how much of it is work ethic? How much is it modern medicine? How much also is it you talking about people who are superhuman? And so the difference between KG and me is going to maybe be different. So those are kind of three differences that we want to ask you. Which one is?
So I think what you guys are talking about, it's probably a little bit of both. And I dare say 50-50. Work ethic is important because, to do the rehab, I was just listening to an audiobook on Kobe Bryant. And they were talking about how he embraced the rehab process. He took the Mamba mentality into the rehab, and he came back from that Achilles and then that tibial plateau fracture as well. And played 3 or 4 more seasons, 3 or 4 seasons. Dropped 60s last game, and Mamba out. Right, so there is that work ethic in there, but sports science and medicine has taken a leap where I think the mecca of that is LeBron James, right? So LeBron is a great basketball player, and people will debate for ages his greatness and where he is on there. But one of the greatest things that he's accomplished is his durability. Yeah. And there was an article that came out a couple years ago. I don't know if you guys remember, but this dude spends over $1 million for recovery and stuff. And then an article just came out maybe a year ago on Russell Wilson as well, putting in like 1.4 million. So these athletes are investing in their body, which I think is awesome. And sports science has allowed them to know really what to do and what to train. There's different theories on why we're seeing all these injuries, though. And some of it probably goes back to what I'll talk about is specialization sports a little early. So we grow up, right? So I have a 1-year-old son, right? So he's going to grow up and hopefully play sports. But what we want to do is have him play multiple sports. But a lot of parents, right? They'll have their children specialize in a sports really early. So there was a stat that came out. Most major league pitchers didn't only play baseball until college or something. So most of them played other sports. And what that does is it gives your body time to rest and recuperate. So you're, for example, you're using different muscles to pitch. And what position, if you're a good thrower, you're probably going to play football too, right? So you're going to be the quarterback and stuff. So different mechanisms.
That's right, with Kyle Murray. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So different mechanisms and different muscles that you're using for that. But if you specialize, so it's good to play both, right, and mix it up and stuff. But if you're only doing one, you're putting more pressure and more strain on those muscles and tendons and stuff. And these basketball players now are, they play ball all the time, especially somebody like KD that loves the game. and you can catch him in the summer just like balling all the time, right? He's playing all the time. So these guys, they go to the Olympics, they play in the summer, they play AAU all the time in the summer.
Yeah,
they're playing from a young age, and stuff too. So if you don't take care of your body, you're gonna have some breakdowns and stuff, as well. Klay Thompson's injury was a freak accident. KD's was a freak accident too. That finals was just,
it was a lot.
It was crazy. I don't think anybody necessarily, as a sports medicine doctor, the first thing I'm thinking is, did they do something wrong? Right? That's what everybody thinks about. But Achilles ruptures, they happen to the best of us and stuff. And that ACL tear of Klay was just,
freak accident.
99 times out of 100, he's going to land. He's going to be okay.
Wow. So you're saying playing multiple sports is better because you're working different muscles. Is that the same as having leg day versus arm day in the gym, or doing those ropes and the tires and all that kind of stuff just to work kind of different muscles? Is that kind of the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So for us common people, having a balanced workout that hits your whole body, full body workout. So you just don't have these chicken legs, you skipping leg day and stuff. But the better off you'll be, because a lot of MSK injuries are, they come from, repetitive motions and repetitive strains and stuff.
What's MSK?
Musculoskeletal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Repetitive motions. Okay. Wow, that's on time. All right. So we got to mix it up.
Yeah, right. Mix it up for sure.
I ain't messing with them ropes though, man. Them ropes are crazy. I hate them ropes.
Dope, man. They're a lot of fun.
I hate them ropes. I burn them ropes if they let me in the gym by myself.
Yeah.
I'll swim. They say that's a full body.
Yeah, swimming's a great workout. Swimming's a great workout. Full body workout. Get your cardio in, get your strength. It's dope.
All right.
It saves your knees and stuff. So you talked about running. Runners are actually the hardest athletes to take care of. Most runners will have a leg injuries because they're running, right? And what do you guys think the treatment is for when you have a leg injury? Stop running.
Yo, can't do it, Doc.
They're like, I can't. Can I? I'm like, how many miles do you run? Oh, I run 20. Okay. You need to stop running. Can I do 10? No. How about 1, 2? No. And
because when they catch that bug, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Well, it's a healthy addiction, right? So exercise, you release all these endorphins and stuff, and a lot of people that run, they may have underlying anxiety and stuff, right? So when they're not running and they're rehabbing, like they're literally going, they're literally dying inside. So we want them to do it, but we want them to do it in a safe manner, and maybe they need to switch it up to something like swimming for a little bit while they're healing.
Yeah, my wife, man, she would send me out. Like, she would be like, you need to go run. Like, certain time of day, I used to just get a little nutty. Yeah. I've lost my addiction to running now, but back then, certain time of day, if I hadn't run yet, everybody knew it.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Before the pandemic, whenever I'd have an issue, stressed out about something, I was a gym rat. I'm heading over to the gym by the house, man, lifting. Since then, you see the weights in the background. Yeah. For the haters who message me, there's more weight on there, you haters. Just didn't want to flex on y'all before, but this fact right now, since the whole interview, I've been crunching this bell bar right now. That's a come on, man. That's a 85 and a 25 and a 15 on. That's just one side. The other side is another 85.
Hey Doc, he said he been working out while we on. That's why that's the kind of workout he does. He doesn't sweat. He doesn't breathe hard. Yeah.
I'm just doing some curls, man. I'm just doing some curls, man. Trying to stay healthy, man. Hey, so
that's all right. Tell me this, Doc. You're talking about injuries and some freak accidents. Like, I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and we have a running back who never plays all season, right? So I'm changing sports and teams and everything. So we talking about your people, but like, what's the difference between somebody who's having freak accidents and somebody who's straight injury prone? Like, Is that something?
Oh, yeah.
So, I'd have to see their charts and stuff, but, a lot of times I think what happens is there's an imbalance too of muscles and stuff. So these people that are injury prone, there could be a muscle imbalance and stuff like that. But also once you have an injury, for example, when somebody gets hurt in football, one of my first kind of the basic question that I ask before is, can they return to play? And the basic question I want answered is, can they protect themselves? So all that being said, what I'm saying is if you have these minor injuries that kind of fester, your gait's off, you're not jumping the way that you normally would. So these people kind of that have chronic disease or chronic injuries and stuff, it changes their biomechanics and stuff, and it puts more strain on stuff, so they can be injury prone a little bit more. So I think it's probably multifactorial, but and these freak accidents, some people would even argue that those are biomechanics and stuff too. So I was listening to some sports scientists talk about the NBA players, they're working out so much during the actual year that their muscles can't rehab. So they're going in with sore hamstrings and they're relying more on their calves and stuff. And then boom, Achilles pops and stuff. So probably multifactorial.
Okay. So you heard these crazy stories about Kobe. What is the importance of rest? And is it just certain people like Kobe who don't need as much rest as everybody else, or just train themselves out of needing rest? I mean, like, how important is rest to well-being and physical health?
Yeah, rest is vital. Just think about sleep. So sleep is where your body kind of resets. Right. So it's very important, say concussion recovery, for instance. So we found that people that actually sleep better and actually get their hours of sleep, they'll recover from a concussion faster.
Wow.
So we try and tell our patients, hey, you really need to sleep. And sometimes we'll give them medicine even to help them sleep and stuff. But there's something about sleep that's restorative. Resting your muscles and stuff, that's literally where they grow, right? So we tear down our muscles when we work out, and then they need time to build back up. If you're just consistently going, you're just re-tearing, and nothing's happening. So that recovery is very important, and rest is very important.
I'm getting old, man, because even when we do stuff like this, we run and working. Of course, when I'm lifting 1,000 pounds a day and bench pressing so much, even with just potting and ministry, if I don't get good sleep, man, it's like I'm the middle of the next day, I got a headache, I need to take a nap, I'm tired, but I almost always feel, instead of getting caffeine, I almost always feel better when I just take a couple hours of a nap or just get a good night's rest the next day. I just feel better. And I think that one of the biggest things that we talked to several doctors and people about this, that rest is so vital. Even when it comes to dropping weight off, when it comes to just being more effective with your mind. So I think that's definitely important. G is my co-host. He is the energy guy. He's got energy for the both of us. But for the listeners, and the fans of G, just know that he does need his rest. So that's why we took the break. We took the break, everybody, because G wanted to keep going. I was a little too tired. He wanted to keep.
Hey, Doc. So you know how kids, when they get sleepy and they need to go to bed when they start acting crazy. So my problem is when I'm dead tired, you don't know it because I'm going like one of them kids that need to go to bed. But my mind isn't firing right. I'm trying to think of words. I can't pull them out where they're supposed to come out of. You know what I'm saying? So I know that I'm tired, but it doesn't necessarily come off because I'm actually a little more hype, on the outside. Wow. But the reality is that I need to go to bed.
No, my wife I'm the same way, G. My wife tells me I'll start acting silly. She's like, go to sleep. Like, go to sleep immediately.
Our wives know, man. Our wives know. Yeah, our wives know. They're like, you're tired. You're not even saying stuff right.
I mean, to be honest, man, even the end of the workday, my patient at 4 o'clock probably sees a different doctor than than my patient at 8 o'clock. I'll be joking with them more. I'm sillier. I'm joking on them. I'm like, yeah, we just need to cut it off. Stuff like that. We just joke around. We have a good time. So for sure, rest is important, man.
Yo, Daniel, man, this has been dope, man. Before we get ready to wrap things up, I want to ask you just your goals and visions. You showed me before, man, in terms of sports medicine, what would be your end goal? What would be your dream? What's the next level? If you could pick your next job, work with who you wanted to work to, team wise, whatever. What would that be for you?
Yeah, man, I had a feeling this question was going to come, and I think the funny thing is, I was talking to my wife about this because the goal was always to be a sports doctor. So I think everybody in life, you'll experience a time, especially as men, where you'll achieve, and then you're like, now what? So I'm like, now I'm a sports medicine doctor, and that's what was driving me for 30 plus years. But what's next? Like what's next? What sustains me? What's next? And so I'm still trying to figure that out. What I have learned about sports medicine, though, is that sports medicine happens on the weekends a lot. And a lot of sports doctors and a lot of physicians in general, you can lose sight of what's really important. And the most important thing to me is my wife and my 1-year-old, who's about to be 1 in January. So every sports decision that I make from here on out, and I've tried to build it this way, I keep them in mind. So, hey, can you, I had some opportunities to cover bowl games this year, and I was like, nah, I'm good, because it's the first year of my son's life, and I just want to be there. So, opportunities will come and stuff, but I think keeping them forefront is really the most important thing as I move forward. The dream job would probably be a physician for USA basketball. That's something that I want to work towards and stuff. And I think that would be really dope to travel and represent the USA and help out those athletes and stuff too. So that's probably the next dream.
Doc, I like your dream job better than my dream job. I gotta go to med school first, and what else? I like your dream job, Doc.
Now, wait, we're talking to now. Did you major in biology?
Daniel? Yeah. So I get this all the time. Like, young people will be like, "Yo, being a doctor takes too long," and I'm like, "Yo, how old do you think I am?" And I'm 35, right? So I'm living my dream, and I'm 35. But you do the undergrad, and then you go to med school 4 years. My residency was 3 years. It could be 3 to 5 years, depending on what you're doing. And then I did a fellowship for 1 year. So by the time I was 31, I was kind of done with my training. And then you just live life. So, I mean, no matter what, life happens, right? So no matter if I'm in med school or whatever, like, life's going to happen. So I might as well invest in something that I want.
Good answer. I feel like we're on Family Feud. Good answer. Hey, look, we didn't ask you this question. I'd be remiss if we didn't. But this in this day and age, man, what is the difference with pain medication? And going back to my own testimony about being in a hospital, man, after being shot, like, they kept coming to me, like, trying to give me pain medicine, dude. I mean, this was a while back, but still, they was sending people, like, for backup. The nurse couldn't get me to take pain medicine, so the doctor come in. The day people couldn't get me to take pain medicine, so the night people try to do it. So I was like, I feel like they was pushing drugs, so I wasn't taking pain medicine after the first day. And now, years later, we find out, what the problem was. And so now it's a new day and age with pain medication. Like, it's still needed, but it can't, we don't want to abuse it. And so I know there are different rules and regulations. And so as far as athletes are concerned, like, what are the differences between then and now as it relates to managing their pain when they're in rehab?
Yeah. So athletes, the NCAA, the NBA, they have all these banned substances and stuff too. So every medicine that we usually give them, we're looking up to make sure that it's not a banned substance. pain medicine after surgery and stuff like that is not necessarily it's not frowned upon with athletes and stuff. It can help. And that's really where pain medicine was initially. I think if you look back at the history of like OxyContin, for instance, it was designed for post-op pain. And then now we have all these patients with chronic pain and stuff, which is you could do a podcast just on chronic pain because the psychology that goes behind chronic pain and stuff like that as well. But that's what originally it was designed for. So after surgery and stuff, that's good. And you're actually, G-Man, you're actually an anomaly with the data that we have on African Americans being undertreated for pain. Actually, a lot of times, and that's part of healthcare disparities and stuff that exist here in our nations. But a lot of African American, especially African Americans, especially in the emergency room, that's where a lot of the data for like bone fractures, they would be under medicated for their pain and stuff. So all that being said, with that history, in medicine, what we have is quality metrics and stuff. So for instance, my diabetics, I get points and stuff if their A1C is less than 7, right? So a surgeon may get, and I'm not sure, I'd have to talk, but the hospital sometimes, if your pain's not managed and stuff, then that could be a knock on them. But unfortunately in medicine too, I think it's become a consumer society too, where we want to please everybody. So they may ask you, you get those surveys, you guys got those surveys afterwards too, after your doctor visit and stuff too. So I think a lot of times in medicine, some of the stuff that we do is to ensure that you have a good experience, and pain a lot of times was undertreated. So they're trying to appropriately treat it. But it can come across, in your case, as like, yo, I'm good. Like, seriously, like I'm good for sure. So, mostly we stick with anti-inflammatories in sports medicine. Like we don't do a lot of heavy narcotics and stuff like that. Famously, I think Tyrod Taylor took a shot and then had a pneumothorax, which was a collapsing lung afterwards, after he had an injection and stuff, pre-game and stuff. So stuff like that can happen. So I mostly stick to the anti-inflammatories and stuff.
Hey,
I don't know if I answered your question.
Well, you did. G's getting all the stuff he wants to know so he can go back and tell people exactly what you say, but he's going to say it in his own words because he's going to be an expert in everything.
That's how we started the podcast. That's how we started this thing.
That's it, man. Hey, listen, Daniel, man, we appreciate you being on. We always ask our guests before we go, man. I'm sure people want to know how they can reach you, whether it's by Facebook, how can they connect with you to have you come speak, do some discussions for young people? I know you said that you connect with young folk. How can people get in touch with you, man, to bring you on and have you part of their ministries, their programs? How can we find you?
Yeah, that's what's up. Social media, probably IG is the best way. So
sure.
It's Dr. Coach 27. And you can follow me there. Just shoot me like a DM saying like, hey, I heard you on the Academy podcast. Cause I'm not like, if I don't know you like that, it may sit there for a while. I need some explanation on
who you are. That's right.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's probably the best way.
Yo, well, good stuff, man. We appreciate you, bro. We appreciate the vision. I didn't want to ask you this question because I know it's probably going to infuriate him. So I'll take him off real quick. Listen, the Steelers are having a fluke season, and I just, as a sports fan, this is my last question. Then we can get off the stream. Are the Steelers going to the Super Bowl? Dr. Bedney, I want your doctor professional sports opinion on the Steelers from Pittsburgh, man. What give me your sports analysis on the Steelers, man.
So, first of all, shout out to Coach Mike. I think he's underrated as a coach, and I think he does a fantastic job.
Absolutely.
With the Steelers. I think the problem with the Steelers, or the problem they're going to face, is this guy named Patrick Mahomes. He's a freak, man. I've covered the Pro Bowl for the past 3 years.
Oh wow.
Sounds cooler than it is. It's been raining. It's miserable. It's like the worst experience. Like it's cool, but you're like, yo, it's raining, and like we got.
Saying it so casual. I covered the Pro Bowl. Like just get me in there, man.
just blessings, man. It's blessings. So I mean, I saw him in person and stuff, and just the flick of the wrist, the angles that he could throw the ball. I mean, their offense is just crazy, man. So I think it'll be challenging.
So you would say that your doc, this is a doctor, G, for the listeners here at home. Your professional opinion is that the Steelers are going to run into some major trouble with Patrick Mahomes. Is that what you're saying, Dr. Bedney?
If we could just have you go up there and take care of our running back, man, we
well, I mean, honestly, I know James Conner, he was out, but I mean, in fantasy, man, your boy Snell defeated me by himself when he stepped in. So I was blown. I'm like, oh snap! I'm about to win. He's starting Snell, and then like I didn't make it to the championship because of Snell. So
yeah.
I mean,
I got Snell on my team, and so every time he does well, I put him in the next game.
And he'll do well.
Exactly.
And that's
really
going on.
Twice, man. It happened to me twice, man. Like in the semifinals, Snell went off, and then I was playing in the third place game. I was like, whatever, I'm gonna win. And then Adams went off for the Packers, and I was going against him, and he just went off. So it is what it is. It is what it is, man.
Hey, we want to tell the people, listen to the doc, all right? Because you all young people think that like you got to sign your whole life away, like to go into a professional field. But you're listening to someone who does fantasy football, somebody who has hobbies, who's had hobbies college throughout. And so I think for a lot of people, they think they have to sign their life away to attain what you've attained. But you can attain that and still be a well-rounded individual. You can still, have a life. You can still, and because this was kind of a boring podcast, and you talked about the many different things that you do to kind of bring excitement to your field. If you can treat this like one of your lectures, and we just want to go out like with some bars, right?
I knew he was going to ask that. As soon as he said boring, I knew he was going to ask you to rap at the end of one of your things.
Hey, I'm just saying, just for the students that have been listening, that have been kind of bored, just want to go out with some bars.
The voice is deep. I don't know.
Let me say this. Though.
Guys say this before they don't rap, just so you know.
I do want to say this, that part of that journey in med school that I tell residents, that I tell students and young people growing up too, is residency. You get paid, so it's not like you're just going to school and you're not making money. And honestly, residents, the average salary is like a little bit over 50 G's. So I mean, it's not like you're just in school for 8 years and stuff. You are starting to get paid and stuff. Now you don't get paid for what you're worth. I think we did the breakdown of the hours and stuff, and it was like less than minimum wage and stuff. But
wow,
that is that. So, man, what are a couple bars?
G don't care about that. He just wants you to rap. He's intently wanting you to give a bar, man.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Man.
Let me think. I'm trying to. So I've done a couple. So I'm trying to think of a couple. So,
hey,
what's up?
You need a beatbox or something? What's up, bro?
I'm not gonna front, like most of my stuff's written, so it's not like
it's okay. You know what? No, it's all good. It's all good. Listen, the next time we got Bedney on, man, we're gonna have him spit some bars, man, from the notepad himself, man, to give us a beat. G thinks he's playing music, but we can't hear it at all. It's not connected. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the Academy Podcast. We're back like we never left, where G tries to play something and you can't hear it because it's not connected somehow. Hey, listen, follow us on Spotify, iTunes, Facebook, and YouTube, and we just appreciate you guys. Thanks again, Dr. Bedney.
No problem.
Y'all take care.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Yo. Here's a couple lines that you can keep in mind when your patient walking in saying, "Doc, I'm not fine. My knees jacked up and you know I'm in pain," and you become insane trying to remember those daggone names of the tests you're going to perform and what's the norm. Where do your hands even conform? What's the plan? Yo, what's the name of that man that described maneuvers the situation demands?
Hey,
hey,
with the listen, podcast only. We got doctors and Star Wars fans rapping for you right now on the pod. Only right here, man. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Peace.
You've been listening to the Academy Podcast with Austin and G. Hit the subscribe button and come again. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and of course, Facebook. Oh yeah. And if you know someone who could use the information you just gained, take a minute to share. Much love from the AP.